my name is Sally Trufant. I'm the general manager of B&B Pet Stop, and I have been working for B&B for almost 20 years. And it's funny because I first started working for B&B in 1991, and my brother and my dad came to, it's a family business as you know, and they came to recruit me from New Orleans where I was working for the Gap. I'd moved down there from working for the Gap in New York City. And so everything I was doing for the Gap, hiring people, merchandising, training, all of those things they needed me to do for B&B. So I was at a point where I needed to make a change, and I agreed to give them a year. So anyway, so the funny stories about this are I do not strike people as a pet person. I am now. I'm considered an authority, which often cracks me up. But anyway, I can remember one of the first weeks I was working at B&B, and this is before we moved into a great big store. We were in a smaller store, and we had some Solomon Island skinks, and these are prehensile tail skinks, and they're lizards with kind of a triangular blockhead, and nobody really was paying them much attention. We didn't have a real involved reptile department at the time. Now, mind you, this is about 20 years ago, and I'm doing this at home, and my dogs are going to be annoying me. Stop. Unlike Mary's dogs, my dogs will behave. Anyway, so Bill and I are examining the skinks, and he's telling me about them, and he's training me, and I've never seen a skink before in my life. And we realize that the skinks have ticks in their ears. And so week one of working at B&B, I'm holding the skinks, you know, holding down these wiggly, weird lizards, and Bill is picking the ticks out of their ears. And I'm thinking, if my friends in New York could see me now, you know, what happened to my life? But it just kind of expanded from there. I became an expert on skinks. Just, you know, when you have to learn it, you have to learn it. So anyway, then we moved to the bigger store where we're located now. And I can remember thinking, I don't want to be 50 years old talking flea control on a Saturday afternoon. You know, here it is. I'm 47, and you know what? I will probably be 50 years old talking about flea control on a Saturday afternoon. You know, this is how these things evolve and happen. I mean, the first 7 years I was in the pet industry, I led a pet-free existence. And then, you know, one thing leads to another, and next thing you know, I had an aquarium, a 75-gallon aquarium with goldfish that I kept out on my back porch at a previous house. And then I have 2 dogs, and at times I had cats and snakes and even scorpions, believe it or not. And that's kind of a funny story. In the first year of working for B&B, we're down at a trade show down in Tampa. And we go to Southeast Reptile Exchange, which is a place where we would go, and that way we can, you know, when you live in Mobile, you don't get to hand pick anything. You order things and they send you, you know, the best looking ones they have. So we go to this reptile place, and this young girl, I mean, she's probably 20, there's these huge horse troughs full of scorpions. And we decided to get a dozen of them. This is the kind of store we have. And she's just reaching in there and picking up the scorpions. And I'm thinking, if she can do this, I can do this. What's the trick? So she shows me how to pick up a scorpion, you know, behind the stinger on the tail. So here I am picking up scorpions and saying, this looks like a fat and juicy one. This one looks healthy. And again, that same refrain goes through my mind. If my friends could see me now, if my friends in New York could see me now, I am handpicking the fattest, juiciest, healthiest scorpions to sell in my pet store. What happened to my glamorous life, right? And then I think it was either that trip or another trip, my dad and my brother and I, this is when my father was still alive, we headed all the way down to Miami because we were going to hand pick some saltwater fish and some anemones and I don't know, that kind of thing. And we were also going to some bird importer and stuff. So we have vehicles that are wrapped with computer graphics or something. So we are Mobile's pet store. B&B Pet Stop, Mobile's pet store. But often people who are not from Mobile look at our vehicles and say, mobile pet store? What kind of animals you got in there? You know, but on this occasion, here we are. We had already stopped at the reptile place, and we picked out a bunch of snakes. We had picked out scorpions. We probably had some toads. We had some lizards. We had, you know, whatever. And we head down to Miami. We get, I don't know, 50 cockatiels, a couple of big birds, whatever. We're in this van. You can imagine how noisy it is. On our way back to Mobile driving, we stop at some rest stop or something, and of course, people say, "Mobile Pet Store, what kind of animals you got?" And as we're saying that, a snake is slithering, somehow escaped from its secure pillow sack or whatever, is like slithering along. I say, "Bill, where did this one come from?" And you know, people are just amazed. They think that we have, you know, we always have animals, or you know, you got any dogs in there? We always have animals in the Mobile Pet Store. But anyway, that was typical. You know, I'd be sitting, you know, with boxes of parakeets on my lap for 10 hours on the drive. So again, what happened to my glamorous life? Anyway, it is a lot of fun, and Bill and Mary and I have such a good time, and our staff, God, the people we work with make it so worthwhile, because every day we laugh about something, you know, either between me, Bill, and Mary, or one of the employees. They come in with something, you know, I don't know. It is a crack up. It is nonstop. You know, as we say, never a dull moment. We also say, it's just a pet store. You know, when the drama quotient gets cranked up, we'll say, it's just a pet store. So anyway, I guess I've spoken long enough. You get an idea of what I'm about. But B&B Pet Stop, I'm the general manager, and, you know, I am often the face of B&B, for better or worse. Thank you. Goodbye.